God is not silent right now. And if you are listening to this message, it is not by accident, it is not random, and it is not just another video you clicked on. This is something you were meant to hear at this exact moment because there is something happening in your life that you cannot fully see yet, something connected to your soulmate, something deeper than emotions, deeper than distance, and deeper than what you understand right now. And God wants you to pay attention because your soulmate is going through a difficult time, a silent struggle that they may not even show to the world. And even though you may feel separated, disconnected, or confused about where things stand between you and them, the truth is, your connection has not been broken. It has only been tested, and sometimes God allows distance, pain, and separation not to end something, but to prepare both people for something greater. And right now, your soulmate is facing a situation that is changing them from the inside, a situation that is forcing them to grow, to realize, and to understand things they could not see before. And even though you are not physically there with them, your energy, your presence, and your connection is still affecting them in ways you cannot imagine. Because some connections are not just emotional. They are spiritual. They are guided, and they are part of a bigger plan that God has already written. And the reason you feel restless sometimes, the reason you think about them unexpectedly, the reason you feel a sudden emotion without explanation is because something is happening on their side, something that is connected to you, and God is allowing you to feel it, not to confuse you, but to prepare you, because what is coming next will require strength, patience, and faith, and if you are not ready, you may misunderstand it, you may react the wrong way, and you may lose something that was meant for you, and that is why this message is important, because God is telling you to stay calm, stay grounded, and most importantly, stay connected to Him. Do not let fear control your thoughts. Do not let doubt take over your mind. And do not let past pain define your actions, because what you are about to experience is not the same as before. This is not the same cycle repeating. This is something different, something that has been prepared over time. And even though it may not look perfect at the beginning, it will have a purpose and you will understand it later, but only if you trust the process now. And one of the biggest mistakes people make in moments like this is acting out of emotion instead of faith. They rush, they overthink, they assume the worst, and they push away what was actually meant to come closer, and God is warning you not to do that. He is asking you to be still, to observe, and to trust Him even when things don't make sense. Because your soulmate is also going through their own awakening, their own realization, and their own transformation. And sometimes that process looks messy. It looks confusing, and it may even look like they are moving away from you, but in reality, they are being shaped into the person they need to become before they can truly stand beside you, and that is something you must understand, because if you expect perfection immediately, you will miss the purpose of the journey. And if you judge based on what you see right now, you will not recognize what is actually happening behind the scenes. And God is working behind the scenes more than you realize. He is aligning situations, removing obstacles, and creating moments that will eventually bring clarity into your life. But timing is important, and rushing this process will only create confusion. And that is why patience is required. Not passive waiting, but active faith. Continuing your life, focusing on your growth, strengthening your relationship with God, and becoming the best version of yourself, because when the time comes, when things start to shift, you need to be ready, not broken, not desperate and not dependent, but strong, confident and grounded in your faith. And if you do that, you will see everything differently. You will not chase, you will not beg, and you will not lose yourself again. Instead, you will stand firm in who you are, and what is meant for you will come to you naturally, without force, without confusion, and without fear. And that is the kind of connection that lasts, not one built on emotion alone, but one built on understanding, growth, and divine timing. And if your soulmate is truly meant to be in your life, nothing can take that away, not distance, not time, and not even mistakes, because what God has written cannot be erased by human actions, but it can be delayed by lack of faith. And that is why your role right now is important. You may not be able to control what they are going through, but you can control how you respond. You can choose faith over fear, patience over panic, and growth over attacks. And even as you begin to understand this message, there is still something deeper that God wants you to realize, because what is happening is not just about your soulmate, it is also about you, your growth, your faith, and your readiness for what is coming next. And many people focus only on the other person, wondering what they are doing, what they are feeling, and why they are acting the way they are, but they forget that God is also working within them at the same time, shaping their mindset, healing their wounds, and preparing their heart for something greater. And right now, you may not see it clearly, but there are parts of you that are being strengthened through this situation. Parts of you that are learning patience, self-control, and faith in ways you never had before, and that is not a small thing. Because the person you are becoming right now is not the same person you were before all of this started. You are growing, even if it feels slow, even if it feels painful, and even if you don't always recognize it. And that growth is necessary because what God is preparing for you requires a stronger version of you. Not the version that depends on others for happiness, not the version that loses itself in relationships, but the version that stands firm in faith, in purpose, and in identity. And that is why this process cannot be rushed, because if you receive something too early without being ready, it can break instead of build. And God does not want to give you something that will collapse. He wants to give you something that will last, something that is built on a strong foundation. And foundations take time. They take pressure, they take patience, and they take trust. And that is exactly what you are being tested in right now. Your patience, your trust, and your faith. And there will be moments when you feel like giving up. Moments when you question everything. Moments when you wonder if it is even worth it to keep believing. But those moments are part of the journey. They are not signs to quit. They are signs that you are being stretched beyond your comfort zone. And growth always happens outside of comfort, never inside it. And as you continue forward, you will start to notice small changes, not just in your situation, but within yourself. You will react differently, you will think differently, and you will feel differently. And those changes are important because they show that you are evolving. You are becoming someone who is no longer controlled by emotions alone, but guided by faith and understanding. And that shift is powerful because it changes everything about how you experience life. And as this shift continues, you will begin to see your past more clearly. You will understand why certain things didn't work out, why certain people left, and why certain situations had to end. And instead of feeling pain when you think about them, you will feel clarity because you will see the lesson behind the experience. And once you see the lesson, the pain loses its power. And that is one of the greatest transformations you can go through, because it frees you from the past and allows you to move forward without carrying unnecessary weight. And as you let go of that weight, you create space for new opportunities, new experiences, and new connections to enter your life. And that is when things start to change more noticeably. Because when you are no longer holding on tightly to what is gone, you become open to what is coming. And God works best in open hearts, not closed ones. And if your heart is filled with fear, doubt, or attachment to the past, it becomes difficult to receive what He is trying to give you. But when you release those things, even little by little, you create room for something better to take their place. And that is exactly what God wants for you. Not just a temporary solution, not just a short moment of happiness, but something deeper, something lasting, something that aligns with your purpose and your future, and that may or may not include your soulmate in the way you expect. And that is something you must be open to, because sometimes we hold on to a specific outcome, thinking that it is the only way we can be happy. But God sees a bigger picture, a wider path, and a better destination. And trusting that bigger picture requires surrender, not giving up, but letting go of control. letting go of the need to know everything, and allowing things to unfold naturally. And that is not easy, especially when emotions are involved, but it is necessary if you want to experience true peace. Because peace does not come from having everything figured out. It comes from trusting that everything will work out in the right time. And as you continue this journey, you will start to notice signs, small moments that feel meaningful, unexpected feelings of calm, sudden clarity about things that once confused you, and these are not coincidences. They are reminders that you are being guided, though.